and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Angie and I'm a chemist who loves makeup. So we've gotten a little bit of update on the Nikita Dragun setting spray situation with the funky particles in them. She has responded to them, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on what I feel about her response and some questions that I would have as follow-ups for her. So let's play the clip of what her explanation is from her Instagram story, and then I will give you my thoughts.
New product, I always send it out in a PR kit to influencers, my friends, my family, to test out the product obviously before I launch it. And there was a small batch of my setting spray that malfunctioned and crystallized ever so slightly inside of the bottle. Completely fine. Like I said, things happen when you are a vegan and cruelty-free brand. Mistakes happen. To everyone on the PR list. So I know not everyone reads their email, but if you're my friend or on the PR list, let a bitch know. We will fully replace the setting spray. Not everyone was affected at all. It was a small batch, like I said. And again, it's a little costly being and, you know, giving out free PR, but I want to make it absolutely right. So let a bitch know. To redo my PR list after this though, like I said, it only affected a small batch in the PR kits, but you know, anyone will do anything to try to get a view these days, even though they're still irrelevant. It's not easy being a female entrepreneur of a small business, but I guess it comes with the territory. But I'm not down to like rip other people down to gain success. That's not what we're doing in 2021.
So because of how she responded, this is why I wanted to make this follow-up video. I feel like she was very dismissive in how she addressed this. I feel like she did not take responsibility or accept criticism well, despite what she said. In my opinion, this whole response seemed like she thinks that anybody who brings up this issue or an issue is a hater and they are searching for clout, and that we should accept that her mistakes are gonna happen. This is just what happened. And it seems like there's more to the story that she's not addressing. The thing is she says it was only a small batch of PR samples and that not even all of them had this issue. Now, I'm going to get into why that could be in a second. Find a couple of reviews of people who have used her setting spray. One of them said she didn't have any particles in it. And then another person said they did have particles in it. And I did find comments in both videos that mentioned having particles in their products. And these channels are not very large. It's not to say that they can't get PR, but they also didn't mention getting the product as PR. And if it were me in that position at my size, I would definitely feel very grateful and want to share that I got this product in PR, because subscribers get very excited for you when an influencer of that size wants to give you their product, or a large brand wants to send you product. And because of the type of issue there's having where there are particles, it could be crystallization like she said, even though I think maybe it was a separate issue. And because of the type of product this is a setting spray, this is a solution, I think that you could still have some of the batch that has no particles and the other that has these particles. The way that this could work, if these are crystallizing out, that means that they are gonna fall out of solution and should theoretically be going down towards the bottom. So maybe the first setting sprays that get filled, if they fill from the bottom, might have these particles in them. And that once you get to that top layer, all the particles have been sucked out, and those setting sprays, the very last setting sprays to get filled, maybe don't have any particles in them. So I think that's how that could happen, where some do and some don't, and still be from the same batch. And so this is where I have some questions.
Number one, how dare you?
What is meant by a small batch? If you didn't know, any of these cosmetic manufacturers have a minimum order quantity. There's a certain amount that you are required to order. This is usually in the thousands. Let's say she had 100 people on her PR list. I don't think they're gonna make a batch that only fills 100 bottles. In my opinion, I don't think that's very realistic. If it was just this batch and you had extra bottles, did those get tossed out? Did those go to customers? Because it seems like those might have gone to customers based on feedback that I'm seeing. Two, I would really like her to explain why they crystallize. I'm pretty sure the polymer is what crystallized out of there, but where did this occur? Some of these during transit, maybe that's why only some of them crystallized. Was this beforehand? And if this was beforehand, how come there's no quality control checks to find these? Because it seems like there's a good amount that had this in there. And especially you're sending them out to people in PR that have this in there. And those are the people that are advertising for you. And you didn't even check to make sure that they didn't have an issue. So what measures are going to be taken to ensure this doesn't happen to customers? If it's due to the cold, are we going to use insulated trucks? Are you going to let your customers know not to freeze it? Or are you going to make sure, like, how are we going to make sure that this doesn't happen to customers? How is this not going to happen again? This should be a pretty easy thing to explain, whether it be just some issue in manufacturing, maybe they didn't get the pH where they were supposed to. It seems like it should be very easy to explain why this would happen and what we could do to prevent this not happening in the future. 3, let's say it was just PR. Let's say it was only PR, so a very small amount. So in that case, was this an R&D batch, which would mean it was made in an R&D lab? And I really hope this isn't the case, because that would mean that the products that are being sent out to people to advertise are not the products that the customers are getting. If anybody remembers that Nikki Tutorials and Too Faced collaboration, what happened when her palette that she had at home performed different than what customers were getting, you'll understand why this is a problem. On their website, it states that they have polymer droplets. Were these figurative droplets? Because this is a solution, so there really shouldn't be any visible droplets of anything. So I'm not really sure why they would go out of their way to mention these droplets if it wasn't referencing these particles. It seems like that would be a really odd coincidence to me, that it would have particles and they would mention these droplets. And this one is not really so much of a question, but more of an annoyance of mine. One thing that I took issue with, kind of was what set me off to make this follow-up video, is her saying mistakes happen when you're a vegan and cruelty-free brand. Now, aside from me not thinking either of those things are really important to her, being vegan and cruelty-free has nothing to do with these errors happening. These kind of errors could happen to any brand. And it kind of seems like she's trying to say, if you want our products to be cruelty-free and vegan, these mistakes are going to happen. That's how I interpret it. Maybe that's not how she meant, but that's kind of how I interpret that. We should just accept that mistakes are going to happen because their products are vegan, because they're cruelty-free. I'm going to tell you what, cruelty-free just means that you're not sold in China. And a lot of these indie brands probably have no interest in selling to China at the moment because they don't have a market there. They don't have influence there. So that's not really of importance to them. As for vegan, most ingredients are vegan. I'm pretty sure in terms of setting sprays, I can't even think of an ingredient in a setting spray that I have seen that was not vegan. Most of your ingredients are vegan. There's a very small handful that are not, but most of them are. So to say that mistakes happen when you're a vegan and cruelty-free brand is just ridiculous. And so I really wish that she would have addressed this in a way, this is what happened. Okay, it crystallized. Why did it crystallize? It crystallized because of X. And saying, I know that this didn't affect everybody on my PR list, but if it did, please let me know. We'll fix this. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. As for customers, we will be doing quality checks to make sure that it's not in there. If you do get one, we will replace it for you. I don't know why that would have been so hard to just explain why this happened and then explain why this isn't going to happen in the future. That is it for this video. Leave your thoughts down below what you think about this situation. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. I would love to hear your opinions down below. And if you want to learn more about the science of makeup and skincare, do not forget to click the subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!